yeah, slavery didn't happen because whites went into Africa and took slaves. No, no, no. My father simply told us, hey, son, you'll need college degrees to stand out. I'm thinking, I know why your prayers are not answered. Well, I didn't pass you because we already passed too many blacks this month. Nobody hands out success. You don't just wish it. You can't just pray it. You can't just confess it. Hello, this is Dr. Dennis. Welcome to Honest Conversation, a platform where we do just that. Talk candidly, honestly, in your face about success, about achievement, relationships, about attitude, about faith in Christ, and about life itself. And today's topic, victimhood. I'll tell you a personal story about my late spiritual father. His name is Dr. Philip Miles. Philip was born in 1941, raised in segregated America. He attended segregated schools with multiple grades packed into a single room. And when he was telling me the story, I was thinking, man, that's like Africa, you know? But I mean, like, can you imagine one grade? I think it's worse than how I grew up. Same room, two different grades, all both going different class, different grades, different teachers, same room, you know. He once recalled, he told me this, I had to write this in one of my books. I knew not to sit in the whites only section on the bus. I knew which window to approach to pick up food. I knew which restrooms to use. I knew which section in the movie theater. I knew my place. I once asked him, I said, Papa Philip, I used to call him Papa Philip, did you ever hate white people? You know, because they made you, everything was, you know, you repressed, you know, segregated, you know. His answer just stunned me. He said, absolutely not, son. I was never angry at them. My parents never discussed racial prejudice. They never taught us to feel disadvantaged. My father simply told us, hey, son, you'll need college degrees to stand out. Be patient, have faith. That's it. That was it. That's all it was said about the disadvantaging and all that. So when schools were integrated, you know, because Philip was alive during that time, Philip was one of only 4 black students in his all-white class. He was repeatedly called the N-word. They call it N-word here in America. You go, I think universally, it's known, but what, you know, derogatory word for a black man in America. His response, I decided to excel. That was his response. And you know what? Excel, he did. Philip was voted co-captain of his football team, the most popular student. He was voted even mayor for the day for his entire little town. You know, it wasn't actually a small little. It wasn't little. He earned a football scholarship to college, goes to law school in Washington, D.C. He's elected national vice president of the American Law Student Council. That's Philip. Philip, when he first sat the bar exam, he told me, he said, the judge blatantly told him, well, I didn't pass you because we already passed too many blacks this time. We only passed 2 per class. 2. That's it. You are good, but I couldn't pass you because too many blacks. Philip didn't quit, though. He was drafted into the National Guard, which in America, those who are listening from outside of the country, that's the military. He rises to first lieutenant. Then he returns and passes the bar. Later on. He became the first black public defender in his state. Later, he worked at the U.S. Treasury Department, and Philip drafted, I wish I had one, a contract to embed the first copper strips in the dime, and in the nickel. That's Philip Miles. He then represented the National Football League, which is a big American football league, players as part of his first integrated law firm in Kansas, one of the only 5 black sports attorneys in the whole of the United States of America at the time. He transitions to entertainment law, where this is where we met actually, in Hollywood. We met in Hollywood, and we called him Mose. I called him Mose. Mose is Swahili for wise elder, wise old man. And he was my beloved spiritual dad. So Philip's story invites us to uh, to have an honest conversation about victimhood. Victimhood, this idea of really woe is me. Woe is meism. Can we call it that? Victimhood is woe is meism. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me now. Of course, disclaimer, I was born in Africa. Okay, my first experience with racism, I don't know about that. It was in 1980 in London. So I'm telling you, I miss it half the time. In fact, I didn't even get it the whole time in England. It was friends who told me back at our house that was racist. I was like, it was? That was racist. It was. So I cannot speak as one who was raised here in America, but Philip could. And his story challenges as this prevailing narrative, of you're black, you're a victim, you're black, you're a victim, you're black, you're a victim. And in fact, the current challenges of the black community, they're not simply the result of white hatred or just racism or some grand conspiracy to keep blacks down. As I stated previously, in one of our episodes here, it's agency. It's it's the absence of what I call human capital, because you can't have agency. Agency is what you're responsible for your own uplift. I call it uplift. They won't give nobody hands out success. You don't just wish it. You can't just pray it. You can't just confess it. You can't just pretend your way up. You have to uplift on your own. Yes, if there is a context, if you have a good governance, for example, America allows for uplift. In fact, it's said that there's more ways to make a living here in America than anywhere else, because you start something, you do it really well, and you tell people about it, they'll come check it out. In some countries, it's like, no, I don't care if you have the best of that or the best of this. This is my thing. I go to this somewhere let me pick on England. Somewhere up in England, an English village, they only buy milk there. That's it. The issue of buying milk is done. And it's been done by my grandfather told us where to get milk. That's it. We get milk there. Boom. In America, though, yeah, they get milk there. But if you come with milk that, packaged a certain way and you can talk it up, they will try to say, oh, sure, I'm going to try that. And because of that, oh yeah, you can uplift. You can absolutely uplift. You can uplift here. So more often, like I said, it's the absence of human capital, which is education, discipline, plain old discipline. Learn to talk. Learn to talk. I meet so many singles, single guys, I don't know. I'm just, especially in the Christian world, I'm just praying. I've been praying, God, please bring me a wife, bring me a wife. So I kind of hang out with him a little bit for a day, and I'm thinking, I know why your prayers are not answered.
Hey there, Josh here. I'm the producer of this podcast. Did you know that there are people out there with early access to episodes of this podcast? There are some that have the ability to suggest future topics for future episodes. And there are others that have access to our monthly live Q&As with Dr. Dennis. If you're interested in any of those things, there's a link on the screen in the description box below. And when you head on over there, you can find out how you can be a part of this amazing group. Anyway, thank you so much. Now back to the episode.
I'm thinking, I know why your prayers are not answered. You're not ready to. You talk down at women. You are absolutely completely selfish. Everything is about you. Marriage, yeah, I know why you're not married, because you're too much about you. So so learn to be the thing before you can want to do the thing. So education, discipline, values, vision. Where you going? Some people are like, in fact, we'll talk about relationships in a few in a few episodes here in a few weeks. One of my criteria for relationships, for example, is where you going? What's your vision? If you're going nowhere, I can't hang out with you, because then we were both not going nowhere. If I walk closely with you and you don't know where you're going, we're both going to be lost. So vision, structure. It's human capital. Human capital. Human capital holds us back. Okay, consider literacy. Literacy. Most 10-year-old black kids, for example, in America, cannot read at grade level. They can't. As a group, blacks read half as many books, but watch twice as much television or stream as much as our white counterparts, peers. We have the highest high school dropout rate of any ethnic group. Any ethnic group. Is that all racial oppression? Okay, yes, I previously stated the black community has suffered slavery, segregation, systemic injustice, but are we permanently injured? Are we irredeemably disadvantaged? No, but again, I understand the issue. It's easier to dwell on the past, on past wounds. I know it's so much easier to say, "Oh, I am this way because my mother didn't. I'm this way because I'm Hispanic, and this way because here they don't like foreigners, or I'm Asian. I'm Asian, and we don't just we'll never make it. We're just terrible at this. It's easy to just to blame your lack of uplift on others or systems or the lack thereof. It's easier to dwell on past wounds than to rise up. It's more comfortable to embrace modern dogmas that blame inequity or on privilege, that promote entitlement, white shaming, for example, racial score setting as a path forward. But again, talking about Asian Americans, what about them? They're generally not clamoring for equity. I don't see a group of Chinese Americans, or even Indian Americans, saying we need equity, we need diversity, we need equity. Now they're not demanding handouts, but they're the highest earning racial group in the USA, because they focus, why? On merit, on discipline, on performance. Dennis, again, you don't know what's going on. You know what? 25 years ago, you may have told me that. I've lived here way too long. I know. No. Black uplift will not come through bailouts, through legislation, or through protests. No, but grit. You know what grit is? Stick-to-itiveness, Just grit your teeth and come on. Just hard work. Excellence, responsibility. There's a sport here called the NFL, the football, American football. National Football League is the National Football League. A whole sport is overwhelmingly dominated by blacks. But it's not because they're trying to help black people. Let's help them. Let's put them in the NFL. No. This is pure merit. One of my sons plays football at college level. You must be good. Period. No concessions made. Period. No one lowers the bar for you. You guys know Michael Jordan, one of the most famous names in the whole world. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. Do you think they lowered the bar for him? LeBron James, the new one, the new, GOAT, they say, greatest of all times. I still think though, sorry, I think it's MJ. MJ, I think it's MJ. Okay, 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 okay. No, you must compete to earn your spot to rise to the top. Sorry, they don't say, okay, let's have equity in the NFL. We need more whites. We can't have 70%. We need more white people on the field. Do they do that? No. And guess what? Stadiums are packed full of mostly white people watching black people doing incredible things. Basketball, incredible things. Why? They're more athletic. Something is in there. I've said this to black people, do you know black Americans, native born black Americans? I used to tell them that, the best, it is the best of the best who were sold into slavery. And we'll talk about that at a certain point. Yeah, slavery didn't happen because whites went into Africa and took slaves. No, no, no. Black kings and chiefs took our best kids, strongest kids, and sold them to the slavers. Sorry, there would not be any transatlantic slavery without the complicity of my chiefs. Inconvenient truth, okay? Yeah, but there was no market for it. Well, before they even sold them to the whites, they were selling them amongst each other. Sorry, we'll talk about that. Sorry, but okay, the best of the best were sold, and the best of the best, only the best of the best, made it across the Middle Passage, and a bunch of them were killed after they got here. Harsh slavery. Slavery was harsh. Only the best of the best survived. The best of the best have now made babies, who've made babies, and those are the babies we'll watch running into walls. Sometimes African Americans are like, whoa. Because yes, we've got tall Maasai, but we don't have LeBron Jameses. Lisa is here. Lisa is white. She's come to, Lisa, do you see tribes like big, okay, they're tall as, they may be some as wide as, but the combination is just amazing. The skill levels and the grit. Why? Because the best black people intermarried after they got here, and this is the generation. And it's what I tell them. I tell my fellow blacks, come on. If you're descended from the best of the best, you better do something. You can do something about your life. So does the West have sins to atone for? Yes. But so does every great civilization. Should the government fix criminal justice, education, housing? Yes. But we must resist the toxic ideology. Here we go. Let me end. That says that our only story is a story of victimhood. And I think Papa Philip's Vic story, life tells it best. Perseverance, excellence, faith, triumph. To be clear, we as blacks must stop playing victim. We must confront our own internal deficits, reject the myth that we're defined by our own oppression. Take it from this first generation African. We are strong enough to rise beyond the legacy of slavery, beyond systematic racism, beyond economic disparity. We're strong enough to rise beyond cultural defeatism. We are resilient enough to change our story. So let us rise. Boom. This is not just for whites or blacks. This is for everybody who feels disadvantaged. It's time to rise beyond victimhood. And that, friends, is our honest conversation today. If something I said stirred you, disturbed you, okay, if it stirred you, encouraged you, share it. Share it with somebody. If it disturbed you, you want to talk about it. If it was true, like, come on, Dennis. Question, thoughts, feedback. Yep. There's a comment section. Send us a comment. Send me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Remember to subscribe. Important. So you don't miss an episode. I am Dr. Dennis, and I'll see you next week right here on Honest Conversations.
A conversation on victimhood. What a very important and much needed conversation in our society today. Here at Honest Conversations, our desire is that you don't just listen to this podcast and think, okay, that's a good episode. But instead, we want you to reflect, be challenged, but more importantly, have honest conversations out in the real world. And so every single week, we have this thing called Honest Conversation Starters. And this week's question is, which area of your life do you feel tempted to play the victim? Now, let me tell you, that temptation is really strong. And most of the time, it feels justified to want to play the victim. But as Dr. Dennis so clearly articulated, playing the victim is no way to live. So I encourage you, look within yourself, be honest, reflect, and see if there's any areas of your life you feel that strong temptation. Have a conversation with a friend that knows you well and talk through these things. And just maybe, you might find out the truth about yourself that will set you free. Thank you to everyone who listened or watched this podcast. And also, thank you to our Patreon supporters. We are so grateful for your continued support and allowing us to continue having these honest conversations that have been so fruitful and so amazing. And a big shout out to our off-the-record Patreon supporters. Your name is popping up on the screen right about now. Just a special shout out to those guys because you allow us, again, to keep this conversation going, and we are so grateful. It is not lost on us the impact that you're making on this podcast and on this community. All right, that's it for me today. That's it for the podcast. We hope you have an amazing week ahead, and we'll see you in the next episode of Honest Conversations. Bye-bye.